And also, if some of you are hoping that there will be some drama as to why I left, let me assure you, there was no drama.
Sampat.
What's up, Sampats? Now, I know what you're thinking. Why on earth am I committing the biggest sin that a videographer can do, which is to shoot a video in portrait mode instead of landscape mode? Well, let me clear things up a bit, okay? Number one, I don't have my usual equipment with me. There's some piece on my tripod that's missing, so I can't put up my camera. And secondly, the recording equipment for sound is not there also. Thirdly, this is what I feel is most comfortable in terms of talking to you guys directly. Because if I'm shooting it like this, number one, the double chin, and number two, it's a little bit hard for me to see because the camera is kind of that way and I gotta look at it this way, so it's kind of awkward. So thank you for bearing with me. I know I have been lazy when it comes to making videos. 2 weeks ago, I said that I couldn't make one because I was pretty busy, and I did say see you guys next week, but instead of coming up with a brand new video, which I think some of you might have been hoping for, it was just a compilation of random moments from last year. So I'm sorry, but I hope you guys were still entertained by that, and I just want to say a big thank you to those who have been supporting the channel since day 1, day 2, day berapa lah. Where did that accent come from? But yeah, thank you guys so much for your support. Now, as you can clearly see from the title of this video, you know what I'm going to be talking about. It's about why I stopped being a radio announcer. Now, just to make a few things clear again, for me, a radio announcer is someone who is on radio, who hosts a show and talks about stuff, right? It's a personality. A radio DJ, on the other hand, as far as I'm concerned is a person who has the ability to pick out music, make a playlist. I know it sounds kind of similar, but actually put on a good show in terms of putting stuff on a turntable, mixing it up and stuff like that, putting their own personal tweaks into a song. Now that's what I call a radio DJ. So for me, I was a radio announcer. And also, if some of you are hoping that there will be some drama as to why I left, let me assure you, there was no drama. Nothing bad actually happened. It's just my own personal thing. So I'm sorry to put your hopes down so early into the video, but ciao kid. Alright, if you're watching this, thank you for suggesting this video idea last year. Now, I started off my radio journey when I was 19, and some of you might have thought that it started off with the hits announcer search. That was in 2015. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. I got the white hair. Oh no, got the dandruff. But yeah, I actually applied to be what do you call it? What do you call those guys who get into the car and go around and give people free stuff? Oh, right. I applied to be a cruiser, but the requirement back then was you needed to have a full license, meaning if you still had a P license, you didn't qualify. So I did not qualify. But somebody asked me, from the radio station, like, hey, do you want to try out to be a radio announcer? So I went in, and of course, being still a kid at that time, I was in awe of the whole station, seeing everything coming into play, people actually at work doing their thing. That was mighty impressive for me. And I'm not saying that it's not impressive today. I mean, people who do this thing week in, week out, day in, day out, demand a huge amount of respect. So I trained for a bit, I think for a couple of months, and then they told me to stop. And I was wondering, like, wait, why do you want me to stop? I mean, this is what I've been actively looking for. I wanted to have a career in this sort of industry for the longest time, because obviously in KK you don't get that many opportunities. I mean, of course you get many opportunities today, but back then not so much. And so I thought, which platform would have been the biggest platform to be able to work at? And for me at that time, it was hits, because growing up, a lot of us listened to hits. I mean, sure, you can go about the iconic breakfast duos or trios of yesteryear, like JJ and Rudy, JJ and Ian. But yeah, so that's what I thought back in the day. So after going for some training and then it stopped, I was kind of disappointed, because it was like, wait, did I do something wrong? But actually, it turns out they wanted to put me on hold because of the announcer search. And so the journey began. I went through all the challenges. It was a whole lot of fun. meeting different people and like, you know, just going through the competition, and I eventually won it. So that was quite a highlight in my life in 2015, winning the Hits Announcer Search, and I still had to go to training for a month. Now, when I was training, it turns out that I did not sound natural. And for me to explain to you guys, maybe most of y'all don't understand. Even when I first heard it, I also didn't understand. When I was about to, you know, talk on radio, the bosses would hear it and they're like, Maya, you don't sound natural. I'm like, what does that even mean? But as I got older and I listened back, and you know, after months after that, I realized like, yeah, I sounded pretty horrible, and yeah, I needed to sound natural. You know, like just having a conversation with you guys lah. And I'm so thankful for that, because it really fine-tuned, it helped me fine-tune a lot of the things that I could improve on as not just a radio announcer, but also as a host, as an MC, and I learned a lot of things from there. One of the things that I loved about working there was just the people, right? But after a couple of months, you thought I was going to say something bad about someone, right? No lah, after a couple of months, I had to move away to Kuching to study. Here is some behind the scenes things on how things work in radio, especially when it comes to Sabah and Sarawak and the big stations like Hits and My. It doesn't apply to Era today because they are a full-fledged 24-hour radio station. But as far as Hits and My are concerned, this is how it works. So basically, from 10 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m., you'll get local radio announcers, right? And from 8 p.m. all the way until 10 a.m., what you'll be hearing is from national, or what you'll be hearing is what the rest of Malaysia is hearing. So yeah, that's just something for you guys to know. Yeah, after a couple of months in, I moved to Kuching, and they just so happened to be an Astro Radio in Kuching as well. Yeah, it was super nice. People were super friendly. It was awesome, and it was interesting because sometimes when I go home and I meet people from KK that I used to work with, they would call me traitor, okay? But you know, it was all fun, it was all jokes, okay? I actually did radio for 3 years, and just to sum everything up lah, okay, the reason why I actually stopped becoming a radio announcer is not because of the people. The people were great, and I know this answer is going to be really short. There's no long explanation to it, but here goes. So about my 3rd year of being a radio announcer, I've always been doing it part-time. I didn't have a solid show per se from Monday to Friday, and all the shows I did were on Saturday. And so usually Saturday is the slot that people, you know, maybe don't really listen to, but you know, it was one way to pay the bills, I guess. And of course, from time to time, because of how things were, because I was studying at the same time, I sometimes might have come in to, well, I did come in to fill in for shows when other announcers are away. But yeah, because of my schedule of having classes and other work during the day, when I had to fill in, here's a secret that some of you guys might not know, but I had to pre-record the shows so that they will play during the day. So I would have gone into the office at nighttime, and then the show would have played the following day. So yeah, that was how it was for me. And oftentimes, I would have come in at 10 o'clock and might have left at 2, depending on how fast I could record. And after a while, it just felt kind of routine to me, because the things that I would have talked about were kind of the same, whether there was a contest happening, or maybe some celebrity news, some viral news, maybe sports once in a while. And after a while, I felt like, okay, that's all I could talk about. So at the end of the day, I just felt that I loved the experience, and I'm so thankful for those who have taught me along the way. And I just thought that I did all I could. And I know some of you might be asking like, hey Maya, do you miss doing radio? And I actually do. I part of me does miss it, but it's more of the people. Like, I really miss the people that I worked with. It was such a fun working environment. I mean, in a regular office that you work at from 9 to 5, usually the office has to be like pretty hush-hush. Everyone's got to be quiet. But in this office, I mean, there was a lot of noise. It was a lot of fun. Imagine just putting a whole bunch of extroverts into an office and see what happens. So again, I am really thankful for the experience. And yeah, it's that's how life is sometimes. You know, you got to move on to the next step in your life. And it's not to say that what you had in the past was a bad thing, But you know, that's how life is, right? You gotta move on. Yeah, that was it for me. So yeah, that's it for this week's video. I'm sorry if it's not as sensational or like a super huge rant of me being all pissed off like you guys want to. But yeah, that's my story. So in the future, if someone asks me this question again, or if someone is asking you this question for whatever reason, you can just direct them to this video lah. Alright, so again, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video of just me having a conversation with you guys. I actually really enjoyed making this. Although it's really simple, I personally had a lot of fun. So yeah, if you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, and if you have any other questions, feel free to DM me on my Instagram at sampat_38. Alright, so thank you very much, arigatou gozaimasu, and I will see you guys hopefully next week.
Sampat.